Hey, Rifters, welcome to the show. Subscribe, rate, review. Very excited for this one. Alan Lee won't be here. He canceled at the very last second, but we got the great Ann Cusack on the Zoom. You guys know how much I love the Cusack family. This is a dream come true. You've seen Ann Cusack from Better Call Saul, The Boys, and the Jeff Foxworthy Show. Enjoy this show. And if you like it, subscribe, rate, and review. All right, guys, rock and roll. Enjoy it. Hey, Rifters, this episode of Reza with Ann Cusack is brought to you by amybrick.com. Is it time to sell your house? Are you ready to cash in on this amazing real estate market? Amy Brick can help. Amy is an amazing real estate broker. She gets homes sold quickly for more with her 2 showing selling system. She routinely even shocks herself with the crazy high prices she gets for her sellers. If you're interested to find out how much your house would sell for, go to her website and contact her, Amy Brick, with Brick and Company Real Estate. Amy's website is amybrick.com. That's amybrick.com. Her DRE license number is 01358129. Again, her DRE license number is 01358129. amybrick.com.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
And
Hi, Reza.
hey, how are you? It's Keith. How are you?
Okay, why did it have Reza on it?
Oh, Reza Riffs is the name of the show, and my last
Oh,
name
I'm
is Reza.
I'm sorry, Keith. Oh, my apologies.
No, not at all. Thank you so much for doing this. I've been looking forward to this forever, so thank you.
That's awfully nice of you to say.
Yeah. But I thought I was like thinking, okay, maybe she might be an hour late because of daylight savings time. You ever heard? Yeah.
Yeah. No, we changed our clocks, so I'm clearly you did too. So
I always thought like daylight savings time is like a bad relationship. It only lasts us 6 months.
Well, there you go.
So I like to start off the show with I have a trusty co-host, but he got sick, so he's not going to come.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but I like to start off with a goofy question, and then we go serious, and then we go back goofiness.
I'm all up for silly.
All right, so goofy question number 1. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective Jr., huh?
Right? Hello? So fun.
Yeah, how was that? Because I saw that movie when I was a kid, or not really a kid, like late teenager, but that was like a kid's version of Ace Ventura.
Well, yes, the idea was that it was Ace Ventura when he was a kid.
Yeah.
So it was really fun. We shot it in Orlando, Florida. And I think one of the, it was so lovely working with the young man who played Ace Ventura. He was lovely. And it was fun being in the Disneyland world. But one of the cool parts was interacting with the alligators.
Holy Lord.
We actually went to this one part, and they had the alligators there, and you were up close to a lot of the animals. So that was the really cool part to me. One of the cool parts was actually getting up close to some of the alligators and learning about that.
And you're not scared of alligators?
No.
Oh.
If I'm in the water and they're coming at me, yes. If I'm outside of the tank or on the land where they're not, I'm good to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very scared of like the alligators and the snakes and all that stuff. Like, I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing that's interesting, like alligators and crocodiles, they have not changed on an evolutionary scale from what they were like thousands and thousands of years ago. So it's kind of interesting. They still have their prehistoric DNA.
They kind of look like dinosaurs to me.
Well, yeah.
Like they like,
slow. They're in Africa. They can go up to it wouldn't look like this, but they can move up to 60 miles an hour.
Holy Lord, that's fast.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with them. Don't get close and you're on land, because they will. Okay.
I'm so glad you know everything about alligators.
Well, I learned a bunch of stuff.
I have Aspergers syndrome, so I know like a lot about like certain animals too, like bears. I know everything about bears.
Do you?
Yeah, you want to hear a couple bear facts?
Love to.
They're from Chicago.
Ha! Love that comedy.
I do stand up.
The bulls,
Yeah.
the hawks.
Yeah, and then before they become bears, they're cubs. So.
Right. Yes, and after 108 years, they win the World Series again.
I know. Isn't that awesome?
Yes.
So
that was a great day.
Oh yeah, I bet you. We were like, yeah, finally.
This city exploded. The city exploded.
Yeah. Were you in Los Angeles when that happened, or did you go to Chicago?
Yes, I was.
Which would have been nice if you were in Chicago.
It would have been amazing to be there. It would have been amazing to be there. But I do have this.
Oh, it's a hat. Oh my! For the folks at home, because we don't promote the video.
Okay.
And Cusack's wearing a hat.
I'm wearing a World Series Champions 2016 Cubs hat.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think so.
So, speaking of Chicago, obviously you got into the acting. Your dad was a filmmaker as well. Like, did that help you like say, hey, I want to get into acting by what his work was doing?
No, only in that I felt comfortable on a set. I understood what filmmaking was kind of about from an early age. Did it help me personally with my career? No, not really.
Yeah.
But it helped me be it helped me with seeing and being and observing the world of filmmaking and commercials and television and all that sort of stuff. So, I saw the basis, very young, going on sets or visiting my dad when he was shooting stuff. So, but, it didn't really help me so much with my career. Just, it partially introduced me to the world.
Yeah, like my adopted uncle is Patrick Warburton, so like
he's lovely, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
Like growing up, I would go see him do Less Than Perfect and Roles of Engagement and all that stuff, and I was like, oh, I always wanted to do the acting stuff, but then like I realized I'm not a good actor. I'm a better comedian guy.
Are you?
Yeah, I do stand-up comedy.
Hey, fantastic.
Yeah.
Where do you do that?
I used to tour with Norm Macdonald until he passed.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm so sorry. That must have been a big loss for you.
Yeah, and I was one of the very few people who knew he had cancer, so it was kind of, and now I tour with Jay Moore and
Jay Moore. I did a movie.
Ghost Whisperer.
I did do a Ghost Whisperer, but I also did another. I think it was called Black River years and years and years ago. That Jay was one of the leads on.
Oh, yeah, he's a sweet guy.
Yeah, he is. Lovely man.
So that's where like my humor comes from, is from comedy. And I guess the point I was trying to make is like, as I was a kid, I realized maybe I don't want to be an actor. I just want to do the TV, but do the fun stuff. You know what I mean?
Do the comedy. Well, God knows we could use a lot of laughing right now in the world.
Yeah,
So it's a big service to humanity if you're making people laugh.
Yeah. And then you have that ability too, because and that was another question I want to ask you, because when you did the Jeff Foxworthy show, that's where I know you from. But you weren't on the first season. You took over some other lady. Like, what was that like? Like, did you have?
Well, what happened is it went from one network. It went. I think it
NBC.
When Jeff switched over to NBC,
yeah.
That's when I came on board.
Yeah.
So that's when I ended up, playing his wife for the second season. With Jonathan Lipnicki and Jolie Hale Osment were my kids on the show. And Haley Joel had done, not too long ago, he'd done The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
That movie. And then
he sees dead people in that movie.
That's right. and then Jonathan Lipnicki had done Jerry Maguire. So that came out while we were shooting the show.
Well, how was it like going in from a part that was like, how did you put your own spin to it? Like, I guess that's what I was trying
to. I mean, a lot of that just has to do with the writing, and how they changed it all up. So it was just in the writing, and then how I was being directed. And then, I would make some choices, and given that it was a sitcom and it was, the premise of the show is, where they had Jeff was kind of a fish out of water. I was, I knew what my role was in the story, which is to help sort of facilitate Jeff's, character's arches, emotional arches through the show. So I kind of understood the role that I was supposed to play and how I supported or was setting up what Jeff's character was to go through in that particular episode. So it was, I had some pretty clear guidelines about, what I was supposed to do and where I was guided. And, if they didn't like something or I was going off in another direction, they'd tell me.
No.
So and then I go, okay, all right, I'll make an adjustment. And, I did something else.
Now, when you get those guidelines, like when you do a comedy, but you also got like, because you study under David Mamet, like how like that's two different, far opposites of the line. Like, how do you put yourself into that?
Well, it's not really. I mean, it's basically it's let's see, how would I describe it? This is going to be really bad. A bad description because I'm not, I should be a little bit more prepared on this answer to this.
I apologize.
Basically it's kind of like, if you know how to dance, it's just learning different styles.
Yeah.
So if you know basic ideas about how to do a ballroom dancing, then it's, you've got the jitterbug, or you've got waltzing, or you've got a bolero, or you have salsa. And although they may be similar sort of steps, each is very specific to its own in terms of how you do the steps, what you're doing, and how you physically and emotionally invest in them. So you always have to be emotionally present, and you're using your own self and your own feelings and your own thoughts, but you make certain adjustments because of the genre that you're acting in. So, a sitcom is very different from an hour-long drama, but yet maybe the premise is the same. But because it's a comedy, you're going to do maybe a slightly different take or tone or rhythm, which makes it funny.
Yeah.
As opposed to going very serious and down a rabbit hole. You know what I mean? So it's all about how how the, I don't know if that really answers your question, does it?
No, it totally does. It's like a dynamic.
You have to start with yourself, and the premise of a drama can be also a similar premise to a sitcom. It's just where you're allowed to go and how you emotionally navigate that. And if it's a comedy, the spin you put on it in terms of your performance and rhythm and timing, that makes it kind of different.
Now, would you say, because you started in Chicago, you also went to the Jeremy Theater to get training, as I said before, David Mamet, would you say like Chicago is a place for young actors to go to start, or do you think they could do that in Los Angeles too?
I think you can be. I think you can be anywhere. I think what makes a good. It has to do with the teacher.
Yeah.
It's finding the teacher, and they're good teachers all over the country. It's just a matter of kind of zeroing in. There are certain periods of time or certain areas that sometimes tend to generate, more comedic actors, or maybe more drama ones than some other, like, Second City was based in Chicago. So in terms of, the which came out of the Compass Players, which was in University of Chicago in the 50s and 60s. So that, that started, and that had, the improv and comedy and comedy being used for social commentary or political awareness or education, or just, reflecting on the human condition.
Right.
So, that was a particular, that generated a lot of improv and comedies, which then spread around to other parts of the country. So then, people, you don't know, but I mean, not that you don't know, but I'm.
No, I get it.
On,
They're like, you're just a comedian,
articulate something, I'm assuming you do. Then, those people go out to different, parts of the country. Like they'll go to, say, Madison, Wisconsin, or they'll go to New York, or they'll go to Detroit, or they'll go to the, Florida, or they'll go to the West Coast or California or wherever, so it's really about where the individual teachers are,
Do you think like the art of acting with times, with technology obviously getting better and stuff, do you think that it's easier for people to do acting than it was back, like, say, in the early thousands, late 90s?
No, I mean, I think it's always the same. I mean, I feel very fortunate in that, I was able to study and train at the Piven Theater Workshop in Evanston, under Vernon Joyce Piven, who came out of the Compass Players, and they formed their studio, and then Second City had their they went more the comedic route, and the Pivens went more in terms of the training of actors, which also included how you handle comedy and that kind of thing. But to speak to your question, I think whether, we're in the COVID era, so we can't really, we're still struggling to figure out what is normal and whether we can still be in an enclosed room together without masks. So I think technology has or may have helped to continue, actors training, learning how to, learning their craft of what it is to be an actor and how you approach a script and character and connecting to people and all of that sort of stuff. But I think the process of becoming an actor is always challenging,
Yeah. Now with COVID, how is it when you film scenes for whatever project you're working on? Like, how is it different? Like, obviously, I'm assuming you got to get tested negative to do it, but like, does the rehearsal stage do they trim that out of the way, or?
Well, our unions, whether it's SAG or IATSE or the Writers Guild, Directors Guild, they all came together when COVID was first kicking in, because our, industry was devastated, because nobody could sort of work. So they figured out protocols on how do we keep, the actors safe, because you can't work with a mask.
Right.
Unless that's what the scene's about, or that's part of the scene that's been written in. So they had to figure out what would be safety protocols, and they came up with different zones. So anybody that's on camera is sort of zone A. So anybody that would come close to the actor had to say, in my recent experience, which is, I was just working on The Good Doctor.
The Good Doctor. That's a great show. That's about a doctor who has autism. I have autism.
You have autism as well?
That's Aspergers. Yeah. Yeah. It's a
Oh,
form of autism.
yeah.
I mean, it's not like I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's not like The Good Doctor. Like, I can't tell if you have a broken spine or whatever. But
No, I think that's unusual. They took some license there.
yeah. But yeah, you know, I do know a lot about presidents and jokes and stuff, so I'm pretty good. Yeah. But no, I mean, I was just saying, The Good Doctor.
Well, I would love to know what your experience is with having Asperger's, and how you, in terms of how that affects your relating to people or not, or yourself, or
Well, basically what it is like I don't see facial expressions or social cues. So like when I talk to people, it's literally like it's like a big question mark.
so you constantly feel like you're in
Yeah.
a state of unknown.
Yeah, like I can see your face and I know what you look like, but it's just a question mark. Like I basically go off energy. So like if I feel good energy, I like, okay, this person might like me, or maybe they're being nice, but I'll lean towards like me. If I feel bad energy, I'll be like, yeah, maybe they don't like me, and maybe I should just still annoy them.
So fascinating that
Yeah.
you're so sensitive to energy. Does your audio hearing, does that have an impact in terms of your ability to feel safe, or know whether it's someone safe to be with or not? Or
Well, I mean, I am sensitive to loud noises, but like babies, I would be a terrible dad, because if a baby's screaming, I would be like, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, like conversations and stuff, like obviously that's okay, but like if it's like jackhammers too, like
well, I don't like that. I get jarred and agitated and rattled when I hear any kind of really loud.
yeah, it also sucks. Like, it's kind of like very strange because I do stand-up comedy too, so I'm so sensitive to loud noises. But what I do is like when I do it in a club or a theater or a bar or a coffee shop or whatever, I just let the laughs roll past me, so I don't hear laughs. I just hear energy. So like that's why like I don't know if I'm funny or not.
So you don't know if you're funny or not.
No, I mean I know I'm funny, but I'm just like right now I don't know. But I think it's all about being confident too. You know what I mean? Like I don't think necessarily talent is a thing, profession, like maybe even in acting. I think if you're confident that you're this role, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I can never audition against Tom Hanks and be in.
Well, who can?
Solely.
Who can? It's Tom. You can't audition against him. How do you do that?
Do you have any crazy audition stories where like you went in and you thought like you obviously wanted to try your best, but just something inside you said it wasn't that good, but then you actually got the part?
I've had every kind of experience that you can have with auditioning. So I've gone in there and thought, oh wow, I feel like I really connected. I got it, did good. I mean, even in the room, they said they really liked what I did and was very enthusiastic. And then I didn't get it. And then there were other times where I went in, I actually did it on tape and I didn't hear anything. And then 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, I find out I'm doing Sully.
Oh my God.
And the audition was just a short kind of on tape clip. So I've gotten jobs because I had worked with the director before and I got offered that way. I've had every sort of, I've had every sort of experience about why I've gotten a role and why I haven't gotten a role.
Yeah.
So I've been on the side of both all coins, actually.
Well, I'm very glad you got every role you got, especially Better Call
Oh, thank
Saul.
you. Me
Yeah.
too. I have to say, I've been very fortunate, and I'm very grateful for all of the roles I've gotten to play. I don't take any of that for granted.
Now, maybe you can't answer this because of contract issue. So if you can't, just say pass, and I'll respect it. But is there any chance you're gonna I don't know, maybe make a little Better Call Saul comeback?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think I will.
Bummer.
My character was really about Michael McKean's, helping set up, or about his character and putting him and his character in certain kinds of emotional arcs, or bringing a certain flavor or background, or so I won't be coming back.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if I was.
Oh, well, let's call Bob Odenkirk right now and get you on.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
It was such a lovely show to work on. I was very grateful.
Did you know, obviously you knew because Breaking Bad was such a huge hit, but did you know Better Call Saul would carry that same magic?
No, I knew that Bob was really talented, and all of the other, Patrick Fabian and Rhea, and they're all, Jonathan Banks, all of those guys are terrific actors, and the writing and the production, team were the same, people that did Breaking Bad. So I kind of was like, and Vincent, Vince, they were also talented and really good at what they're doing. That it would have been kind of odd if it didn't do as well as it has, because
Right.
there was so much talent involved and they knew what they were doing.
When was the last time you did the band, the Jones band?
The Generation Jones.
The Generation Jones band.
Oh, yes. Well,
Uh-huh.
we're just finishing up mixing a couple of our songs, and we're going to. That's so lovely that you've done your homework. That's so lovely.
I have Aspergers. I just didn't memorize the generation.
Yeah, the Generation Jones band. We haven't been able to do anything because of COVID, any live performances. So I'm hoping I'm going to be setting up some gigs in February and March.
I want to come. I want to come support.
I'd love for you to come.
Yeah,
That would be fantastic.
yeah. I'll bring all my fan. I'll tweet it. I'll be like, we gotta go.
Oh, well, I mean, you don't. That'd be lovely. I would so appreciate that. But if you just came, that would also be really great.
Because I want to be your new best friend. You know what I mean? I want to be promoted to Aunt Cusack's best friend.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm putting it down. Get you on the list.
Oh, I'll pay for a ticket. I'll support.
No.
Yeah. Hey, Rifters. This episode of Raise a Risk with Ann Cusack is brought to you by amybrick.com. Is it time to sell your house? Are you ready to cash in on this amazing real estate market? Amy Brick can help. Amy is an amazing real estate broker. She gets homes sold quickly for more with her 2 showing selling system. She routinely even shocks herself with the crazy high prices she gets for her sellers. If you're interested to find out how much your house would sell for, go to her website and contact her, Amy Brick, with Brick and Company Real Estate. Amy's website is amybrick.com. That's amybrick.com. Her DRE license number is 01358129. Again, her DRE license number is 01358129. amybrick.com. Now, I wanted to ask you 3 more questions. This question is for acting, because I've done some stuff but
Mhm.
like nothing huge like you. But I have a hard time memorizing lines. And
Oh,
I was
don't-
yeah, and I was wondering because I feel like every single actor probably has that exact same hard time. Like, do you have any tips on how to memorize? Because what I do is I'll take what I'm supposed to say and I'll write it over and over again, like on like actual write it.
Mhm.
But like sometimes I forget half the stuff I write.
Well, I do. I have a kind of a. This is my process of how do I memorize lines, because I don't memorize lines very well. It's not
Okay.
easy for me.
So it's everybody then. It's not just
Yeah. So some people do. Some people have photographic memories and they do it and they say it a couple times and they've got it. If something is really well written, it's easier to memorize the lines because it makes emotional sense why you say one line and you respond with the next. So if it's well written, it is easier ultimately to, because it makes sense. It makes emotional sense. And if someone said that to you, then you would say that back to them.
right.
You understand. So that can have a huge factor as to whether it's easy to memorize something or not, in terms of my experience. But the way that I do it is I take the scene and I literally write out each one of my lines. Then I go back, and after each word, I say the word out loud and I put a slash mark after the word. So if I was to say the line was, I don't want to go. Here, I'm going to write it out for you. I would write out, say that was one of the lines. I would then go, after I'd finished writing through the whole scene, you hand write it out. I would go, I don't want to go. And so it would look kind of like that. Can you see that at all?
Yeah. For the folks at home, it says I don't want to go.
That's a made up line, right?
Yeah.
And then I would do that with each one of the sentences. And then I say them, the lines out loud. Like I verbally say them out loud. And then I go on my iPhone, or whatever you have, or if you can, any kind of recording thing. And there's this great app called Voice Memos. And I pull that up and I record the other character's lines. So there would be a blank and I record, whatever the other character's lines are.
What they say, right?
What they say. So, and then once that's done, I'll alternate until I get really familiar with why I'm saying what I'm saying, and then I go back and I practice with the what is it? Oh God, what is
The
it?
voice messenger.
Voice message.
Right.
So then it's like if the other character starts the scene going, get in the car, we're going to the store, and then there would be a blank. That's when I would fill in, I don't want to go,
Right.
as an example. And then the next character would, so I'm kind of talking to myself basically while I'm learning the lines, but I just record the other character's lines and leave enough space for me to, say what my lines would be. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. I mean, I think I'm the same way because like when I don't do the voice recorder, but like if someone says, let's go to the store, I would say, I don't want to go. Bring me back Cheetos.
Right. So, but it's just doing the scene. Right?
Yeah.
Right. And then I just keep going back and forth, repeating it over and over and over again. And then, the other part of the process for me is breaking down the scene into beats. What are the emotional beats of the scene? And that also helps knowing, if the scene is, say, for example, I want you to do the surgery because you're a doctor.
Right. I'm the good doctor.
And you don't want to do the surgery, then I know that, at the beginning of the scene, there's going to be my objective is to get you to do the surgery. So if it's well written, there's going to be a lot of different ways in which I try to get you to do that. Maybe it's manipulation, maybe it's, pleading, maybe it's, calling out, whatever the different kind of verbs are that you would use. And then that also can help in terms of just organizing the emotional, you're emotionally tracking the scenes.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Makes
And then,
perfect sense.
so then you're learning the words sort of by rote, then you put in the emotional components to it. You know, sometimes it's easy and it just kind of blends all together. And so then you eventually have it all memorized so that I can, you know, go through the scene and know what everything that I'm saying, you know, be able to just play the recorder without looking at the words anymore. And then of course you throw all of that out when you're actually talking to another human being and you're in the scene, because then you have to listen and play off of what the other person is giving you. But as far as getting yourself to a place where you memorize your lines, that's how I do it.
That's pretty awesome. Like that's because like when you're doing it, it would like go in your head, you know what I mean? So you got it down.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
you gotta go in there once you get into the scene, or you know, you're working, you want to know it so thoroughly that because there's so many distractions, and the last thing on a set that you're, you know, people pay attention to is what you need in order to be able to do the scene. You've got the crews, you've got the camera, you've got timing, you've got pressures, you've got people, you know, touching up your hair and your makeup, and you know, you're supposed to do a heavy scene or emotional scene, or it's a physical scene. So it's about, you know, keeping yourself kind of focused and concentrating. So you don't want to feel insecure that you don't know the lines.
right.
You want to make sure that you feel comfortable so that if the other character, you know, the other person you're working with may go up on a line, you can kind of maybe improvise and work it out a little bit. You know it so thoroughly that you can just relax about that part of it.
Yeah.
So that you can then emotionally enter whatever the scene is.
Now, do you, I mean, I know you've had a couple of these under your resume, but I don't really understand the whole, like when you do a film or a TV show and then it says uncredited, like, does that like hurt your feelings? Because like I have one uncredited thing and that it's like,
well, I mean, I don't really know what that, I mean, I think what it is that the part is so small,
right.
you know, that it's like 2 lines or something that, you know, it's not even worth it to mention that you're kind of in it, you know.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
But if you have really kind of several scenes and full scenes, then, you know, part of that also should be like your representatives when you were, you know, signed your contract, that was in the contract that you know, your name is in the credits, you know.
Yeah.
Unless of course, you know, for some people who are, you know, really, really popular and, you know, or do what's called cameos, where, you know, they show up in the film, but they don't really, you know, they may be on the tail end of the credits, but, you know, it's just really about them kind of popping up and kind of helping for a minute. You know, it's not really, that's a whole different dance, you know.
Speaking of cameos, did you know that there's a website called Cameo where like people, I could get you on this because I'm on Cameo if you're interested.
Oh,
but
yeah.
so like people will pay like Ann Cusack, like whatever you charge, like, you know, I don't mean to brag, but I'm a high roller, so I only charge $7. But so
oh man, you're breaking people's pockets. What's up with that, man?
So like they would give Keith Reza $7 to like say a cameo, like "Happy Birthday, Doris" or whatever.
Oh yes. Lori Petty, my fellow League of Their Own, you know, teammate. She's on Cameo and she does them.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I haven't done that. I just can't imagine that anybody would really want me to do that. But I could check into it, you know.
Yeah, I could get you in. I mean,
maybe I could get $7 a pop.
Yeah, I know, right? If they pay for Keith Reza and I'm just a stand-up.
Come on now. You're not just a stand-up. You're not just any stand-up. What are you saying, man? Give yourself some credit.
Oh yeah, I do give myself credit, I guess. I don't know. But another question I had for you is Multiplicity, which is probably one of the best comedies of all time.
You think so? Really?
Oh yes, definitely. And you had
Michael's hilarious in it.
you had one of the greatest scenes because you were acting with Michael Keaton and Michael Keaton.
I was.
So what was that process like?
That was so much fun. We spent 2 weeks, a little bit over 2 weeks, working at a restaurant, which was had been very, very famous in the 50s, 60s, I think. Well, no, into the 70s and 80s, actually, called Chasen's. And so we were shooting in that restaurant. And it was really, Michael worked his butt off because he had to play,
5 different characters.
himself. So the whole thing was just basically physical comedy, which I didn't get a lot of chance to do, and I loved because it was so fun. I got my head slammed into a booth, which was great. I ended up getting a mild concussion, but I loved it. It was really great. Where he's sort of dragging me out so that, the real Michael Keaton doesn't,
Yeah.
the clone. Or no, it's about getting the clone.
You're dating the clone.
Yeah.
And then Michael Keaton comes, and then they go to the bathroom, which is kind of weird. And then they come out, and then the real Michael Keaton's with you. So I got
the whole thing about him saying I hate pie, but I love pie, and what's happening here?
pie here sucks.
Pie, but you just said you love pie. I don't get it. It's so funny. He's so fun to work with. He's so great.
Yeah, I know this because I do stand-up, but a lot of people don't know this. He used to do stand-up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, he had Mr. Mom was a really kind of a breakthrough movie about changing, the traditional roles about, the mom is supposed to stay at home and work and clean the house and raise the kids and all that sort of stuff. And it was one of the first sort of role reversals where, the stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
And there's nothing emasculating about that,
Now, Ann, I know I said I had one more question, but I was wondering, can I do 2 more questions?
You can ask me as many as you want.
Oh, okay. So one question number 1. Do you have any cool Chris Penn stories? Because I know you played his wife.
Oh, yeah, Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. He was so great to work with.
Well,
Right.
probably one of the best character actors ever, too.
Oh, he was great. He was great. He worked really hard, and it was amazing to watch him as he discovered and hit the emotional beats and that stuff. He was really present. He was very authentic when you were in a scene with him.
Yeah.
So half the work was done for me. All I had to do was listen and talk to him, and he made me look great. I mean, he was very professional. He showed up, he did his thing. He was a private person, but that was the Brotherhood of Poland, New Hampshire was a great. I made some really close friends out of that show.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was.
And then my last question. Did you know Gross Point Blank was going to be like an amazing film? Because I think it's one of the best comedies ever.
Yeah, it is great. I don't think I know that we all had a lot of fun doing it, and it was one of the first films that John's production company produced.
Yeah.
So and it was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and it was a great time, and there's 5 of us in my family, so 5 kids, and 4 of us were in it, which was really fun. There aren't any other, we don't. Is there any other film that all 5 of us are in? No, I don't think so. No, I think it's just Grosse Pointe Blank has John, my sister Joan, my brother Bill, and myself in it.
It was really fun. It was a great movie.
Oh, yeah, it was really fun, you know.
I like that movie because Dan Aykroyd's in it, and he has Aspergers too. So
Oh, does he really? I didn't know that.
yeah. So if stand-up comedy doesn't work for me, at least I get to be a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, do that. Or the other thing you could do, which Dan was he loved, you know, he set up the House of Blues,
Yeah.
also Avalon. So he loved, he had these great nightclubs in, you know, LA where people would come and DJ and music, and he just really wanted people to have a lot of fun and have a good time. So he kept creating did and has created a lot of venues for people to go have a good time at night.
Now, last question is, what would you give someone who's struggling, like an artist of music or acting? What advice would you give them to keep on following their dreams, to keep fighting?
A couple things. One is you want to have a support system around you. So if this is your dream and this is what you really want to do, and you know it's your calling, you know, even if it's the calling for right now, make sure you have people that support your dream and that you support their dream. So you've created this community and people who are encouraging and believe that you can do it, and that you should keep trying, and that, you know, keep being tenacious. You have to be tenacious in this industry. If you're in the arts, it's about tenacity. It's about your relationships with people and being able to interact with them. I feel like one of the biggest things that goes a long way is saying please and thank you, having manners.
Yeah.
So that if somebody does you a favor, you say thank you. And depending on what the favor is, either it's just a verbal thank you so much, or you send an email or a funny email card, or you send them flowers or whatever it is, you know, depending on how they helped you get the job or get the position that you wanted. And you make sure you say thank you. And when you're on a set, because everybody is the nature of a set, for the most part, it's pretty abusive. We have crazy hours, crazy times. You know, the COVID stuff and the COVID protocols are really, you know, it does not help the process at all, and it makes it very difficult. So you've got a lot of people that are being pushed to the limit and the wall. So say thank you if somebody helps you. You know, the wardrobe people, you know, the crews come before the actors and leave after the actors do. They have crazy hours. So, you know, be kind from that standpoint. And, you know, the industry is about sort of relationships. That doesn't mean that you're a doormat, but it does mean that, you know how to conduct yourself on a set if you don't really know how to do that. And you've never been on a set before, just, you know, just for one show or one day or one film, be an extra. Understand the structure of the film, understand what happens, and there's a hierarchy about, you know, and it all has to do with who's closest to the camera, kind of thing. So you have to believe in yourself. You have to have confidence in it, and that you deserve to have your dream, that you can have it, and you just got to go for it. You know? Figure out how to you know, balance it out, but you know, keep going and do the things that are going to help you continue to have your dream. Now you have to also be realistic, you know, about what your dream is. So for me to be Beyonce, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To be a superstar like her, that's not a realistic dream for me. Do you know what I mean?
No, I get it.
It's like, be know what your limitations are, and limitations are not a bad thing, but they help you know where you know how you can succeed with what you want to do, so that, you know, if you want to have be clear about what kind of experiences you would like to have.
Yeah.
Being just going, I just want to be famous, or I just want to have a lot of money, or I just, that's, you have to get specific about what the experience is. I want to be a part of an ensemble of people that are telling stories that really have an impact and are funny. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean, because first of all, before I tell you what I know what you mean, I was going to thank you. I don't know if I thanked you before, but I was
You
going
did. You were very
okay. I didn't want you to think I was going to say, thanks for that.
And I'm going to thank you as well for having me on your show and asking.
But no, but like, like I said, I do stand up and I also write scripts. And like how I write scripts, I mean, I haven't sold anything. First, when I do, I'm giving you a call. But but like I imagine like my favorite actors or whatever in my head as I'm writing. So like I'm writing for them and their voice and stuff. So like that's my dream, is to like get stuff just to make people laugh, and make stuff that I think it means a lot to me will mean a lot to So but yeah, I get that.
Yeah. It's the industry is based upon is on relationships with people, and again have certain boundaries about what you will and won't do, but it's and be careful about burning bridges.
Oh yeah.
And be careful about having an attitude of entitlement.
Oh yeah, that
owes you anything.
Yeah, that is true.
You don't owe anybody anything. So, don't, confidence is one thing, but being entitled and arrogant is a different thing. You know what I mean?
I always think you should always, regardless who you are, you should always treat people how you want to be treated. So I'm always very like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Well, Ann Cusack, I want to respect your time.
Oh, and yours as well, my friend.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Keith. I had a lovely time talking with you.
Yeah, it was so fun. I can't wait to see you and the Generation Jones.
Yes.
Yeah. Where can the folks at home follow and support you if you want to be followed and supported?
Oh, well, just go to www.anncusack.com, and it has all the, information about, what I'm doing acting wise and also with the band. So,
I do want to touch up on this because, it truly does mean a lot to me just to talk to you, because I get a lot of no's, and the fact that you said yes really meant a lot to me. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, you're lovely to talk with. And I appreciate how, a lot of times I'll do some interviews and people haven't really kind of done their homework, in the sense that they don't really, I'm not saying everybody should know every single thing I've ever done.
Right.
But it's nice if they had the general strokes of some of the roles that I've had, and, from that standpoint. And I feel like you came to this conversation with thoughtful questions, and you knew some of the things I'd done, and I was surprised by some of the stuff. So it was, I appreciated that effort that you made to.
Of course, I had a goal. When I interview Ann Cusack, I'm going to make her become my best friend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
And
you have to share with me. You have to send me your podcasts, and I'll send you stuff about the band, and we'll keep this going.
All right. Thank you. I'll send you my special so you could laugh too.
Oh, yes, I would love that.
All right. Thank you so much, Ann. Have a wonderful day.
Keith. Have a great one.
Bye. All right, guys. That was my interview with Ann Cusack. Subscribe, rate, review, and enjoy the show. Thank you so much.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hey, Rifters. This episode of Reza Riffs with Ann Cusack is brought to you by amybrick.com. Is it time to sell your house? Are you ready to cash in on this amazing real estate market? Amy Brick can help. Amy is an amazing real estate broker. She gets homes sold quickly for more with her 2 showing selling system. She routinely even shocks herself with the crazy high prices she gets for her sellers. If you're interested to find out how much your house would sell for, go to her website and contact her, Amy Brick, with Brick and Company Real Estate. Amy's website is amybrick.com. That's amybrick.com. Her DRE license number is 01358129. Again, her DRE license number is 01358129. amybrick.com.